are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
The Tigers close it out in Las Vegas with a big win versus St. John's. Let's talk about it right here inside the town.
The Auburn Express. You are now listening to the War Report All-Town Podcast. Hit your board like show.
Welcome on into Lobtown, powered by the War Report right here. It's a part of the Auburn Express podcast. You got Ike Jones live from Vegas one more time, talking a little bit about the win versus St. John's, bounce back in a major way. We'll also talk a little bit about the women's basketball team remaining undefeated, taking down the Cal Bears out there in Texas. But let's start with the men's basketball. Big win. Absolutely big win for Auburn. They got what will probably amount to be a quad one win against a team that a lot of folks thought they didn't have a chance. Seeing how they played versus Michigan and then watching this team play versus St. John's, night and day performances as far as their toughness. They were quicker to loose balls in this game. Now, they still got beat up on the glass pretty bad, but man, an excellent fight going. They were, other than probably the last 7 minutes of the first half, Auburn was actually in control of this game for the vast majority of this game. They finished the half pretty poorly, but they came out of the second half at 9-point deficit at the half, and then they went out there and absolutely dominated the second half of this game. St. John's cooled down, something that it just didn't seem happen at all for Michigan. St. John's was missing open looks at one point in time, point blank stuff at the rim. Like it started to fall apart. The wheels came off pretty quickly for them down there, down the stretch. But Auburn locked in defensively, really forced them into some tough shots in the second half. And then you can't say enough about the performance from Keyshawn Hall into Todd Pettiford, particularly in the second half of that game. But let's dive into the numbers a little bit for this one. Auburn gets the win 85-74. So they go 2-3 during the stretch here in Vegas, and looking good so far. As far as in games in which you can see the effort there, they are doing really great, and you can really be proud of the type of team that they're putting out there on the floor. Coach Stephen Pearl talked in the post game about how when the team is connected, they're going to be well. They are the sum of their parts. They have the guys who can close it out down the stretch with Todd and Hall, but when the team stays connected defensively, that's when you see a really good team for them. Again, let's get into the numbers on this one. Auburn was able to get the win. Todd Pettiford was your leading scorer, 27 points for him. There was a stretch in the second half where he looked every bit of the player of the year preseason candidate that he was. Like, he was absolutely unguardable at one point in time. He went 10 of 19 in this game, 3 of 8 from 3. So still not a great 3-point shooting performance from him, but when he can knock down multiple threes in the game, he's definitely a different kind of threat. 4-4 from the free throw line. He got 2 assists, had 3 turnovers. So again, don't love how the scoring is coming along, and it seems as if the distributive portion of him as a guard is starting to wane a little bit. But love the fact that the team as a whole shared the basketball a lot better, and the big-to-big passing or the facilitation from the bigs was really good in this one. But 4 rebounds for Tahad in this one, a block shot and 3 steals. He really locked in, didn't come off the floor at all in the second half, but really locked in defensively and had some really great defensive possessions. He was being pesky in more than one way in his ability to score the basketball and defensively, really getting the St. John's guards out of whack and hesitant to attack because he was being advantageous in the passing lanes and making sure that he was doing what he needed to do in his ball screen situations. You really saw him just kind of lock in on possessions to try to bring the team across the finish line. Keyshawn Hall, 20 points on the night, 5 of 11 shooting, only 1 of 3 from 3, 9 of 12 from the free throw line. He missed 3 pretty big free throws down the stretch, and he was not happy about it. He talked about it as much during the press conference. As soon as he walked in here into the press conference after the game, He looked at the stat sheet. He's like, man, I missed 3 free throws. He just couldn't, he is a guy who prides himself on his ability to knock down those free throws. And he's definitely going to try to atone for that later. He had 8 rebounds on the night. Excuse me, that is not correct. I'm looking at the wrong player line here. Let's get back to Hall. Oh, no, 8 rebounds is correct. 4 assists and 1 turnover. So that's what I was saying about Todd Pettiford didn't have the assist to turnover ratio that you want, but you get Hall having a major assist to turnover ratio with 4-1. And he did a really effective job of passing out of the double team, something that he'd struggled with at certain points throughout the first few portions of this season. Did a much more effective job of passing out of the double teams when he saw those in the game tonight. He had 1 block shot and no steals to look at there, but an excellent game, I think, overall from Hall, who scored only 2 points in the first half of this game and came alive in the second half. He was really, it's almost as if during portions of the second half, he would take over for a minute. He was the one that really came alive to coming out of the half, knocking down a big 3 early and then coming right back and getting a tough bucket in the lane. So he scored like 10 points, I think, in the first half of the second half of that game. But then Todd Pettiford took over during the middle portions of that second half. And then Hall took him down the stretch, getting to the free throw line and being able to get some crucial rebounds. Like he had an amazing offensive rebound that he got, ripping the ball away from a St. John's player that secured an additional possession and helped Auburn to get that victory. Keyshawn Murphy had a really clutch game. He was in foul trouble, so he didn't have the heavy minutes that some of the other guys played, but he was very effective in the minutes that he was out there, had a clutch block late in the game there, and a couple of big rebounds on it to finish out some possessions. So loved what he did. Speaking of Murphy, he had 9 points in this game on 4 of 6 shooting. A big 3-pointer that he hit down to really kind of be the nail in the coffin for St. John's there. When the ball came to him late on a rotation, he knocked down a big 3. So that's the thing that he's added to his game here at Auburn. 6 rebounds on the day for him, just 1 assist and 1 turnover, but 2 block shots and a steal. Really big steal as well. When Auburn was trying to stretch or come back in the game, he had a big steal there. So really big minutes from him. Only 22 as opposed to you saw Kevin Overton. Listen, KO, bounce back game for Kevin Overton. Let's take a second and praise the effort from Kevin Overton, who had 12 points on 3 of 7 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, but 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Absolutely clutch free throw shooting there from him. 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 turnover. So he was quasi playing point tonight for Auburn. St. John's was pressing a lot. Excuse me. And when they did that, they were trying to get the ball out of the point guard's hands. KO was bringing the ball up, initiating the offense a little bit, but he was able to move the ball effectively, and he was able to find his teammates to get a clutch 5 assists on the day. He was the leading assist man for Auburn in this game. Also, having a pretty good game out there for Auburn. Sebastian Williams-Adams still got to work on those free throws. He's 1 of 2, but effective minutes for him overall, 3 of 4. I like the hustle that he had. It wasn't, I don't think it was a vintage Sebastian Williams-Adams game. It wasn't the classic sway game, but I think that the energy that he brought out there, despite being in foul trouble and limiting some of the minutes, I think I liked the energy I saw from him, getting on the floor, getting after loose balls, competing down low, trying, even though he was undersized down there, trying to get to the rebounds. On the night, he only had 3 rebounds, but he had 3 assists. He had 2 turnovers as well, but a block shot and 2 steals. So like the minutes that he had. Early in the game, it looked like Elijah Freeman was just kind of all over the place. He had a really sloppy turnover, a couple of traveling calls early in the game, but he bounced back to have a decent game himself. Only 8 points, but 3 of 4 shooting, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 6 big rebounds in this game, 1 assist, but the 4 turnovers. Again, 3 of those came like within the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game. So he only had 1 turnover after he kind of settled down. And he looked tentative with his shot, but I love the energy that he had on the defensive end and on the glass, able to find teammates out there and get those the big assist that he had. But 6 good rebounds for him in this game and 1 steal. So again, good energy as opposed to last night versus Michigan. I just did not feel as if this team had any energy. They looked dead in the water from the very beginning of the game, and it just looked like they felt defeated against a really good Michigan team. But the reason why that does not bode well is you're going to run into, next week when you go out and play in Arizona versus one of the better teams in the country, if not the best team in the country in the Arizona Wildcats, you are going to need to be able to take abuse and be able to come back and play as a team and play as a unit to get back into those games. Stephen Pearl talked about the necessary things that had to be said at the half to get his team re-energized. They took that to heart and came out in the second half and did a really good job, and loved the energy and the effort. I know I keep saying energy and I know I keep saying effort, but that's how this team is going to have to win because they're not big, right? It's not like last year when you have the Twin Towers out there and you can just go bully most of the teams that you're going to play against. You don't have the same kind of rim protection. You don't have the same kind of interior scoring. You don't have the same kind of rebounding. You're going to have to win with your energy and your effort. You need to force turnovers, get out in transition. Still waiting for this team to have an explosion from the three-point line because they have some good shooters, but they need to be able to shoot the three more effectively, more consistently. Tonight, they shot the ball pretty well. They actually shot it decently in the last game, but 6 of 14 from three, only 14 attempts from three. I think this is a team that probably needs to shoot 20 or so threes, but stay with this 43%. If you can shoot 43%, you'll take that. But they need to make 7 or 8 threes per game. So that's why I think they need to take a few more. But this is a team that needs to be able to take and make 3-point shots, stretch defenses so that you have room for guys like Hall and Murphy to be able to maneuver down low. Love the sets that they ran in the second half to get Hall isolated down on the block. And he did what he was supposed to do when he got in there amongst the trees. He probably should have gotten a few more foul calls, but finishing through contact is something he does extremely well. And I love what he and Murphy are able to do in and around the basket to be able to score in a very crafty way. So very good, solid win for this team. 3 days, 3 games here in Las Vegas, and you had guys play really heavy minutes in the second half of the game to take them across the finish line. But that's an amazing job by a team that's out there constantly fighting. Tahad Pettiford in this game, again, he had a game high 27, and that is his career record, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure I have that correct. Career high 27 points, yes, for Tahad Pettiford tonight. So just an amazing MVP type of game from him to be able to close that out. And looking forward to seeing what he's able to do here for the remainder of the season, because the season really just ratchets up from here, right? You're going to play against Arizona. You're going to go and you're going to play versus Purdue. So you're going to have some tough matchups left here that you need to be able to have those types of performances from your 2 best players out there on the field, on the floor, with Tahad Pettiford and Keyshawn Hall. All right. Enough of that. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on how you felt like the game went. I know a lot of people were probably abandoning ship when Auburn went down by 9 there in the first half. But tell me how you're feeling right now after watching them get that beat down versus Michigan, lose the first half of this game, but then come back and get the big victory. I want to hear some thoughts from you on how you feel about this team right now. But let's shift gears and talk a little bit about women's basketball. But before we do, thanks again to the sponsors of today's Lobtown, and that is the good folks over at the Tax Express. It is tax time again, and the Tax Express is here to make it easy. Since 2004, they've helped hundreds of thousands of clients, not hundreds of thousands, I'm exaggerating, but still thousands of clients stay on track with personalized, efficient tax preparation designed to maximize your return. Whether you prefer in-person services or virtual convenience, they've got you covered. Book online, upload your documents securely, and relax while they handle the rest. And don't forget, your financial future matters. Ask them about life insurance options to protect what matters most. Located at 4144 Carmichael Road, Suite 1 in Montgomery, Alabama. They are an IRS authorized e-file company. Convenient, reliable, trusted. Book now and relax later. Call 334-578-0264 or visit thetaxexpressmtg.com. You can scan the QR code on your screen or schedule an appointment, upload documents, and get directions right there from those QR codes. The Tax Express, keeping you on track since 2004. All aboard. We are all aboard the Auburn Express, Lobtown here, powered by the War Report, and we are talking Auburn basketball. The Auburn women were in action tonight as well. Got the dub, remain undefeated there with Coach Vickers. Listen, this is a team that is absolutely resilient. They don't have the best post players in the world, but they find ways to be scrappy and get towards the ball and get towards rebounds. But again, they hang their hat on the defensive end, forcing 19 turnovers in this game in a 58-50 win versus Cal. Another one of those teams, that people weren't expecting them to win this game. They go out there and get the win, and in a neutral site game versus a tough Cal team that's given Auburn some trouble in the past, right? Like the Cal has gotten some big wins versus Auburn women's basketball recently, but Auburn was able to get the win tonight. Your high point person was Ariel Jackson, who was able to score a big 17 on 7 of 11 shooting. 3 of 3 from three. She had 3 big threes early in this game, but she was a focal point for this Auburn basketball team being able to go out there and get the dub. Second there was Hottie Lay with 10 points on 3 of 7 shooting. She did most of her damage in the second half. As a matter of fact, I think all 10 of her points came in the second half of this game. She was 4 of 6 from the free throw line. She added another 3 rebounds and 3 assists, 2 steals to her stat line. Loved the game that you got from Jamia Harris, right? Like she was someone who I'd said had been struggling a little bit, but late in the game, being able to get big and one finish there. And she played solidly on the defensive end and being able to mix it up and get 5 big rebounds in this game and 2 assists. She had a block shot and a steal as well in her 30 minutes of action. So loved the energy and effort that you got from this team. They still need to figure out the scoring end, right? 58 points is decent versus a Cal team that's tough on the defensive end, and they had them outsized for the vast majority of the game. They were able to get Walker into foul trouble there for Cal to kind of neutralize a little bit of the size that she provides as an advantage for them. But they've got to figure out the interior scoring and figure out how to get their bigs being more solid, particularly on the defensive end. Listen, Arek Angui played very few minutes in this game, and she's one of the tallest players in college women's basketball. She's got to figure out how to stay out there on the floor and be effective. Claire Koulibaly, not known for being the toughest on the interior. She's more of a step out and shoot it from the mid range, but had 4 points in this game and 3 big rebounds in this one, a couple of late rebounds to be able to secure the win there for them. And then you love the energy, of course, that you're going to get from somebody in Caitlin Duhan's not going to show up in the score stat sheets there. She only had 1 point in the game, but she affects winning with her energy. Maya Petticord added 6 points in this game, 3 of 4 shooting for her. She had solid game in her 23 minutes of play. And then Harasum Koulibaly was able to add on another 7 points with 3 of 8 shooting. She and Harris have cooled off a little bit on the offensive end. Petticord's picked up the slack, and you got Jackson pick up the slack again tonight for them. But if they can find a way for 3 of those 4, being Jackson, Petticord, Harris, and Koulibaly, to really get it going on a consistent basis, they can be a dangerous team, because I think, like the Auburn men's basketball team, this is a team that needs to be able to shoot the 3 ball effectively. They did a decent job of shooting the 3 tonight. Let's take a look at that one. Tonight, they were 50% from 3 on 4 of 8 shooting. Not nearly the volume that you want to be able to shoot when you've got players like Harris and Petticord out there, Jackson out there who can really knock them down. Sanaya Richardson, who can come off the bench and give you some depth there. Caitlin Duhan has improved her ability to step out and shoot the 3. So you've got players that can shoot that shot effectively. They need to be able to rotate the ball, limit the turnovers. Tonight, they had another 11 turnovers. Don't love the double-digit turnovers. Forcing 19, giving up 11. Not great, but you'll take it when you're forcing that many turnovers. But they limited Cal to 34% from the field, 29% from 3. Free throw shooting was a bit of a mystery tonight, 10 of 16, 63%. But again, you love the effort defensively that you're getting from this team. Coach Vickers has this team locked in on the defensive end and being what he's always had his teams be, pesky on the defensive end, making it difficult for you to get into your stuff. And if you're careless or loose with the basketball, they are going to pounce on that. So an absolutely phenomenal job for them to go out there and get 2 big wins in Texas. And then they've got some tough tests coming up before they get into SEC play as well. But looking forward to seeing how this team continues to compete, as they are still undefeated, right? So listen, you don't play the best game and you can still get the dub. That's something good. But, as Coach Vickers says, maybe, they need to lose a game so they can realize some of the things that they're doing that should cost them games, are going to cost them games if they don't start to tighten it up. Against some of the better competition, some of that stuff's not going to work. So they need to definitely get better, particularly in the offensive execution, so they can get themselves some good, easy looks and knock those down. When you take a look at some of the stuff that they did that kind of upsets you about this team. Not going to lie, 6 of 14 on layups, right? Like you got to clean that up. You need to be 80, 90% on your layups when you have the ability to get to the rim. You need to be able to put that down. Now, again, they're finishing amongst some trees down there with some taller players, but listen, you got to make your layups out there. 6 of 14, not great. They probably need to be a team that has better fast break points as well, only 6 fast break points. And when you're a smaller team, getting it out in transition and being able to finish out there is going to be crucial for you. So those are things that they definitely need to clean up. But you love an undefeated team. So definitely congrats to Coach Vickers and the Auburn women's basketball team. Looking forward to seeing what progresses there for them. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. Again, if you're out there in watching this video, make sure you do the necessary. Like the video, share the video, comment down there in the comment section, things that you love about this Auburn basketball from both the men and the women. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If you're listening to this on podcast, go ahead and give us that 5-star review, and make sure that you have signed up for automatic download so you always know when that content is dropping. That's it. I'm out of here, man. I'm signing off from Vegas. I will be back at you guys with more great War Report content later. Until then, and as always, War Eagle.